What we're going to watch now is Neil Mcfarlane's speech to, where was the speech to? I don't know. It's somewhere on the west side. And this is the speech that precipitated the headlines that Neil Mcfarlane wants to build a light rail line and widen some highways, which then brought the scorn of the bicyclists and the greenies, and. Personally, I think it was a brilliant move on his part because if more voters vote for the roads than are going to vote for the light rail, so he's smart as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say, and I will always add my comments. I just realized again that this is an hour long, so I'm not going to sit here and listen to an hour of Neil Mcfarlane. So we'll divide it up in three sections here. Now, this is interesting because the version of the speech that they put up on their site, the people that he was talking to, who I still can't remember, but they'll must say it later in the video. See, I taped this earlier. I put this on, and I haven't looked at it since, so I forgot all the details, of course. So yeah, this film is from a very weird perspective. They're shooting up at him from the side. They're not in front of him. Now it's interesting because I saw a camera that was faced right at him, but that's not the film that's available for some unknown reason, which is also peculiar.
Give you some interesting statistics about that as you move on. We provide affordable
and you can see the sound quality. The sound quality is just horrible. So I mean, they put up a real crappy version of this speech, and that's kind of odd, considering it was this big announcement to get $2 billion out of the taxpayers.
Efficient and responsive service to seniors and people with disabilities and people who have low incomes. And we help shape the growth of the region with some of our major investments. So we do that. When we do those missions, we have two very important duties we want to think about. One is we want to make sure that we're financially prudent and responsible. And second, that we can ensure that our employees actually deliver safe, reliable, and high-quality service to our customers.
Yes, he wants to be financially prudent, and that includes lots and lots and lots of executives and directors and assistant general managers and all kinds of people in offices over there. But you know what they're saying when they say fiscally prudent? That's how they get the union. They like to blame that on the union. That's the big tactic, you see. These people that are getting away with making all this money, when they talk about fiscal problems, they're always pointing at the union, our pay and benefits. It's such a ruse, and everybody falls for it. I don't know why.
A little bit more about the services we provide. We have certainly no question that our workforce is the most important asset in meeting those.
In this version of the video, you can't even see his head. I mean, it's such unprofessional work. Whoever put this up, I mean, for crying out loud. I wish I could remember the name of the website that I got this off of.
Those missions and in doing those duties in a responsible way. They are the ones who deliver service to us 365 days a year. Nearly 3,000 people work for TriMet. And they deliver those services 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, in all kinds of weather. I think it's easy for us to all recognize the challenges that many of those employees have had over the last couple of months.
Okay, there's 3,000 employees at TriMet. I know there's 1,200 bus operators. I'm not sure. I used to know how many. I don't know how many light rail operators. 120 maybe? I don't know, it could be more than that. 3,000, that's a lot of people, actually. I thought it was less than that.
We operate 680 buses. We serve 6,500 plus bus stops. We have 5 MAX lines, as you heard, with 145 vehicles. and 60 miles of track to maintain. The West Commuter Line is one of our newer services here in Washington County. It serves 15 miles with 5 stations. And finally, we operate about 250 what we call paratransit buses, or the small buses that you see around, really focus on services for elderly and people with disabilities.
Those are interesting statistics that every good TriMet follower should remember. I won't remember them.
So let's talk about who uses our service. We have over 101 million rides a year on the TriMet system. So what does that mean? That means 101 million times a year somebody steps across the TriMet threshold of a bus or a train.
You know, I really hate that statistic of 100 million trips per year. 100 million. That means 100 million times people stepped over the bus zone or whatever. I mean, I never liked that statistic. Why don't they tell us how many people use TriMet, actually use TriMet in a standard week, you know? That's more significant because, you know, one person can be 8 trips in one day, you know. It's depending on how many transfers they're making. So that number doesn't mean anything to us because one person can do an awful lot of trips in one day. We don't have any idea what the actual number of people are. You know, they could tell us that, but they don't.
That's 310,000 trips a day. When you stack that up, this region that we serve is the 24th largest in the nation, but we're number 9 in per capita ridership. So we like to say we outbox our weight class.
Yeah, that's Mcfarlane's line. We outbox our weight class. He likes that line. There's the per capita. You know, if you look at the transit statistics of people that use transit in the country, the only ones that are really used are the East Coast transits and I guess Muni. The West Coast, no. I guess Seattle's starting to see some real ridership, but you know, you're talking 12, somewhere between 10 and 20% of people use the transit out here, and you know, it's 50% back east. So even though you box your weight class, it's really still low ridership in terms of the total number of people.
When it comes to transit service and provision of service in this region. People with disabilities, and about 1 million of those on that lift service that I continue to serve well. 45% of the commuters to downtown Portland take TriMet.
Those screen freezes are the movie playing. I mean, I wasn't sitting here when I was capturing this video, so it wasn't my equipment. That's the crappy video we're trying to watch here. It doesn't even play smoothly.
All told, we have about 200,000. We save about 200,000 auto trips a day from our region. So if people are worried about congestion now, think about adding 200,000 new auto trips onto the system and imagine what life would be like.
Well, you can't really argue that point. You know, it's light rail ridership really doesn't make a dent in cars, but if there was no light rail, it would definitely make the traffic worse. That's just common sense. There's no doubt about that. It absolutely would make it worse. But it hasn't helped the traffic flow. I lived in Portland 20 years, and it just got steadily worse. So all of their central planning didn't work. Yeah, they implemented a transit system, and that's a good thing, okay? Every city needs a transit system, but sometimes the transit system needs to perfect itself before it keeps expanding. And TriMet has not perfected itself yet, and that's my whole point with this anti-rail. I mean, they keep building, and the service quality is degrading, and somehow that's acceptable in Portland, and nobody says anything about it. I'm the only one that even says anything. I mean, all of the other, you know, all of these places in Portland are connected, and nobody wants to be mean or say the truth for some reason about things in Portland. You know, all of I guess you'd call them the local celebrities, you know, all of them, including people like the Bike Portland crowd and the city crowd and all of the various leaders. They don't want to take on the tribe. They don't want to talk about reality of TriMet or anything else in Portland. You know, I don't know why leaders can't be truthful about anything, but they're not. I mean, you know, TriMet's going to get their light rail line. You know that, right? And the service is going to be shit. And it's not just Portland where the service is shit. It's everywhere in the country. Go ride some other system. It's just as bad or worse than TriMet. Okay, it's a system failure. Anyway, let's hear what he's saying. I won't interrupt anymore.
So finally, 3/4 of the metro area residents ride the system at least once a year, and about 40% of those at least twice a month. So how are we doing at providing those services? Well, one of the things we like to look at is how we compare to our other peer transit agencies. Think about cities like Denver and Utah, Seattle, the San Jose area. If you begin to compare us to those peers, you'll find that TriMet stacks up quite well. First of all, we're number one in what we call boarding rides per capita. Remember, that's where we outbox our weight class particularly. We're number two in boarding rides per hour of vehicle service that we run, or vehicle hour as we call it. We're number six in operating expense per revenue hour, right in the middle of the pack. And we're number two in passenger revenue per boarding ride. And we're number two in our fare recovery ratio. In other words, the proportion of our total costs that are covered by fares. So I would tell you that those are very enviable statistics if you're in the transit business. And again, TriMet, I think, is seen as one of the nation's model transit agencies.
Sorry, I have to cut in on that. Yeah, we're one of the nation's model, but I'm not sure what the model is other than transit-oriented development. I'm not seeing anything unique at Portland. Is anybody else? I mean, Portland certainly doesn't give the most. It's not even on the same level as major transit districts. So when they say leader, what the hell are they talking about? They're talking about light rail everywhere and gentrification. And who says that they're the leader? It's that industrial complex that I talk about. There's a public transportation industrial complex, and they set all of the rules and the tone, and all of the public relations comes out of that complex. There's no citizens advisory committee for the public transportation industrial complex. So he says the fare box recovery ratio is number 2 or something. I don't know, what is it, 25%? That should be, I'm an advocate for free fare. I think that if you want to have a tax increase, do it for free fare. That's what I would do. I would do a tax referendum to make transit free and make it 24 hours and make it really frequent, like every 8 minutes. No waiting needed, no schedules, trains running every 8 minutes. And when the trains aren't running, buses covering 24 hours. A real alternative to the car. You can't even consider transit a reasonable alternative if it doesn't run 24 hours. That means you could be stranded. So right there, it's a no-starter. So they have this transit system that only serves working hours. Of course, that's neoliberalism. The transit system exists to make money for the businesses. It doesn't exist for the people, and that's what TriMet is the leader in. Neoliberal gentrification.
Let me just sort of continue this. I posed on that route map, how are we performing financially? Well, not everyone, those are hard issues to sometimes judge independently, but what I can tell you is that Moody's and Standard & Poor's, 2 independent rating agencies, have granted TriMet the highest AAA bond rating. We are the only transit district of our type that has a AAA rating, and the first that was granted by both those agencies at the same time.
They brag about that. I find that very disturbing. I find that very. that TriMet has already borrowed $100 million against future sales tax revenue. You see, this is how this works. You know, they don't even wait for the money to come in. They go off and, hey, we just passed this tax, or we can borrow against the future, and at interest, of course. And TriMet just did it to the tune of $100 million, and it was in the last board meeting. All right, and they're selling bonds against the future taxes, and they're not saving for the future. You know, they're building stuff, and he's bragging about bonds. So he's happy that the banks like TriMet because the banks can make money on TriMet. That's not something we citizens should be happy about.